Have you ever had a weird light pop up on your dash that you couldn't explain or didn't know what it meant? Or maybe you have issues where you're driving and it's nighttime, you have somebody flashing their lights at you because they think that you have your brights on, but you don't. In today's video, I'm gonna explain and share some of the common Subaru Quirks questions that I get asked almost every single day by Subaru customers about their car. And my goal with this video is to help you better understand your car and why it does some of the things it does and what some of these things mean, hopefully to provide some more clarity around your Subaru. If you're new here, my name is Alex. I like to share weekly videos, tips and tricks all on Subarus. If you like videos like that, consider clicking the subscribe button down below. And as always, if you have any questions, comment down below. I'll do my best to answer those for you. This first one is very common and it's actually really simple, but despite that, it is something that I get asked about all the time, and that is going to be the blue light that sometimes lights up on your Subaru's dash on initial startup. Now this light is the thermostat temperature. It's telling you when you start the car that the coolant temperature in the engine is cold, and after a few minutes you'll notice that it goes off. Now, if your Subaru doesn't have this blue light on initial startup, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with your car. It might mean that your Subaru just doesn't have this same light. Many years ago, Subaru started to discontinue this blue light on many of their new models. For example, I have a 2023 Subaru Outback. It doesn't have this blue light on initial startup, but in this 2019 Subaru Impreza, it does. So this is gonna vary model to model, but if you do have this blue light, it's not something to be concerned with. It's all a part of the normal operation of your Subaru. The main concern would be if this light turned to an orange or a red color, that might indicate that your coolant temperature is too hot, and that is certainly something that you'd want to get checked out. Another common light that oftentimes pops up on your Subaru's dash is going to be a red lock symbol that is only displayed whenever the car is off. And of course, if you see a red light on your dash, that might indicate cause for concern. But in this case, it's perfectly normal. And if it looks like this lock symbol and it's flashing, that's nothing to be concerned with. It's just telling you, it's giving you a visual whether or not your Subaru's security system has been armed. For example, if the car is unlocked and turned off, you're going to see a slow flashing light with this lock symbol. And whenever you lock the car, you will see a quicker pulsing of that lock system. It's just giving you a visual to let you know that your vehicle is locked and the alarm system is set. Next up, this one comes up every winter. And here recently, we've had some pretty cold temperatures. And so I feel like I'm getting asked this question every single day from my Subaru customers. And that is, why is my AC on whenever I have my heat on? And the thing to be aware of here is that AC does not stand for air cooling on your Subaru. It stands for air conditioning. And what that's doing is it's dehumidifying that air as it is being brought into the vehicle to help decrease your windows from getting fogged up. And I'll go through a few settings here to help better explain this so it makes more sense to you. So as an example, here's a touchscreen display that looks pretty typical of most of your modern Subarus. But if we go in here to our climate control settings, we will see that the AC is on. We're going to turn this off. And then if we click on full auto, the AC button turns back on automatically. That's because whenever we have our temperature set to high, whether we're doing it manually here or through remote start, it's automatically going to turn on the AC to condition that air as it's coming in and get our interior cabin temperature up to this warm temperature that we just set. Another common question that people have on their Subaru's climate control is with the recirculation feature. So if you tap this button here, it is going to recirculate that interior cabin temperature. So it's not pulling air from the outside, instead it's recirculating the temperature from the inside. But if you go to put your defrost on, you'll notice that the recirculation turns off automatically. And that is because in order to help defrost the windshield or the windows more efficiently, your Subaru is automatically going to pull that air from the outside of the car instead of the inside. Because if it's pulling it from the inside, it's going to take it longer typically to defrost the interior windows. And it doesn't matter if you're using the touchscreen display here or one of the older style Subarus with the analog controls. If you go to turn on your defrost, the recirculation is also going to turn off, and instead it's going to pull air from the outside of the vehicle. And if you're like me and you like to remote start your Subaru with the My Subaru app, if you click on the full heat setting, you will notice that your AC automatically turns on while also having the temperature on the highest warm setting. And again, that is because it is trying to defrost and condition that air as it's coming into the vehicle and warming it up. So hopefully by the time that you get out to your car and go to take off, your windows are not frosted over and the inside of the car is nice and warm. A quirk that oftentimes comes up on an initial test drive, maybe somebody's brand new to Subaru, they're coming from a different brand, or they're coming from a much older Subaru model. What they will oftentimes ask me is the steering wheel smaller? And to identify that, what we're going to do is use a measuring stick. So we're going to take this and measure from end to end the best we can on the steering wheel. And it measures at about 14.5 inches from side to side. Now, if you search this on Google, the Subaru steering wheel is a standard size steering wheel. It's actually the same as the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4, which are two commonly compared competitors. But if the steering wheel isn't actually smaller, why do people commonly think that it is smaller? And I think that this has to do with a couple things. One is the turning radius on a Subaru is very tight. So if you don't have to turn near as much to get in the same direction or to make that same turn, you're going to feel like the steering wheel is smaller. The other thing is a lot of modern vehicles, and more specifically with Subaru within the last few years, they upgraded the electronic power steering rack to a dual pinion electronically power steering motor. So this also plays into making the steering wheel feel lighter and more direct and very accurate whenever you are taking turns or pulling into parking spaces. If you have a Subaru that was made within probably the last 7 or so years, more specifically one with the LED headlights, I bet you could share in my frustration with this next Subaru Quirk, and that is going to be with your headlights. You're driving at night, and I'm sure you've experienced this. You have a car coming towards you, and the car coming towards you is flashing their lights at you to indicate that, hey, maybe you have your high beams on, but you check and your high beams are not turned on. And that has a little bit to do with the fact that these bright LED lights, while they provide great visibility for the drivers, at certain angles, they can be blinding to the people ahead. As an example, if you're going up a hill or an incline, if that oncoming car is coming towards you, those lights might be inadvertently angled directly in their eyesight. So with that, people think that you have your brights on when you actually don't. Now, hopefully this will be updated in the future with more technology, and I don't think that it's necessarily Subaru. I think it's just inherent with these brighter LED lights that it's something that many people experience. Now, some Subarus do have automatic high beam assist if you were worried about accidentally driving with your high beams on, and the way that this is turned on is that you press your left stalk forward so your brights are on, but then you set it to auto. What that will do is your high beams will be on when there's no oncoming traffic, and then whenever oncoming traffic comes towards you, your high beams will go back to low beams. Now, this doesn't fully fix the quirk that I was just sharing with you, but it is one way to help prevent accidentally having your brights on in the first place. Have you ever started your Subaru up and almost immediately after you start it, the volume is on full blast or on a high volume? It's incredibly irritating, and you may quickly find that there's not an on-off switch really for your Subaru, and instead you have to turn the volume down or click this button right here to mute it before you get out of the car. That will help prevent the car from starting with the volume all the way on blast. Another thing you can do is you can technically turn the screen off before you get out of the car, and that will also prevent the radio volume from being on whenever you get back in the car. You'll see it's turning the audio off. And to turn the screen back on, you either simply click and hold this button for a few seconds, or you can click the home button to easily turn that screen and power it back on. By the way, if you do power the screen off and turn it black here, you will still have access to your climate controls in the lower portion of the screen, because at the end of the day, you still want to have access to some of your main comfort controls, but maybe you want the radio off. Another thing too, I primarily use my Spotify on my Apple CarPlay, and if I was previously listening to Spotify whenever I got out of the car and I go to restart the car the next day, my Spotify will be back on and my radio, my local stations will not be on. So that is another sort of workaround to the radio off situation. I hope you found some value in learning about these Subaru Quirks. Hopefully it's provided some clarity around some of the things that maybe you didn't understand previously on your car. Hopefully you understand it better now. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video and found value in it, please remember to click the like button before you go. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.